Welcome back to the next presentation in our series designed to help businesses making small amounts of hazardous waste comply with the New Hampshire hazardous waste rules. We've looked at pages 1 through 3 of the form and reviewed the basic storage requirements listed in section E of page 4. There's also some paperwork requirements you need to be aware of, and these are covered in section F at the bottom of page 4. The questions at the bottom of page 4 in section F are about the shipping documentation, either paper or electronic, used to send your hazardous waste off-site. These are called Uniform Hazardous Waste Manifests. The first question asks whether you keep copies of those manifests after the shipment leaves your business and if you are obtaining proof that the Treatment, Storage, and Disposal Facility, or TSDF, received your hazardous waste. The second question asks if you are supplying a copy of these manifests to NHDES. If you are not, you should begin to now. To give you a little background on why we have these requirements, let's look more closely about how the shipping papers works. Before we had regulations, dangerous hazardous waste could pretty much go anywhere and no one would know, including the company that made it. Then, the EPA made a national requirement that we have what's called a hazardous waste manifest that is required to go with every shipment of hazardous waste, from the place where it was made all the way to the place where it eventually ends up. The place it ends up might be a facility that destroys it, recycles it, or changes it in a way that just makes it less dangerous. If paper, a manifest has multiple copies that are kept by the business and regulators that have an interest in the transport and handling of the waste. EPA is transitioning to an all-electronic manifest system, but that is still in the works, and the majority of transporters still use the paper copies for at least part of their waste shipment. Let's look at this example to show how the system manifest works. For starters, a company has hazardous waste that they want to get rid of. They contact a registered hazardous waste transporter to pick it up and deliver it to a place called a Treatment, Storage, and Disposal Facility, or TSDF. This is the place that will do the disposal, recycling, or treatment to make it safer. It makes sense that the generator who makes the waste, the transporter, and the TSDF would each want a copy of this manifest since they all handle the waste and would want a record of it, just in case any problems come up later on. But state and federal regulators, that is NHDES and the EPA, want to know about the shipment too, since they're also responsible for making sure your waste is getting to the location it's supposed to. It's their role to protect the public from improper disposal of this hazardous waste. So, those are the 5 organizations that are interested in tracking your waste, and they do this by getting copies of each manifest as it moves from site to site. Let's look at how this happens. The hazardous waste transporter arrives at your business to pick up your hazardous waste. They'll bring a manifest with them, either paper, made of 5 pressure-sensitive copies or layers, or an electronic version. Most transporters still use some version of a paper copy for this initial pickup, but will be transferring to fully electronic, they say, at some point in the future. You write on the top layer, and the ones underneath show what you write too. Before the waste leave the business, you should carefully review it for accuracy. It's way too easy to make mistakes on these papers. Once you're confident that the information is correct, you, the generator of the waste, will sign the manifest and tear off the bottom layer to keep for your own records. But hold on, that bottom copy is so faint, most of the time you can hardly read it. We recommend that before your transporter leaves with the rest of the manifest, you make a photocopy or scanned image of the top page, the one you can read. Then you'll have the one that you can actually read, which is pretty important. While you're making that copy for yourself, you might as well make a second one. NHDES requires that you send a copy too, since we want to be aware of shipments that are moving over public roads. The original manifest doesn't include a copy for a state regulator, so one more extra is needed.
Now you'll have 7 copies total with all the information about your waste, where it's going, and your signature, as well as the transporters. This documents the waste leaving your business, and it's an announcement to all interested parties that, hey, a shipment of hazardous waste is leaving this site. The transporter then takes your waste and the remaining 4 copies of the manifest. They'll deliver the waste to the TSDF, and they'll sign the 4 remaining copies showing that they received the waste, just like they were supposed to. The transporter will take one of those 4 copies as proof that they completed their responsibility. The TSDF will keep one showing that they received the waste. That leaves 2 copies remaining. The TSDF will provide one to EPA, who will record the information in their huge national database. NHDES can look at this database online and also know that your waste made it to the TSDF. The last copy showing that your waste got to where it was supposed to may be sent to you. If the TSDF does not send the copy to you, you must figure out how to access this copy by either registering with the manifest so that you can track it on your own, or trying to set up an arrangement with your transporter. It is critical that you have this copy. It is your only proof that your hazardous waste went to the right place and isn't in a ditch or on the side of the road or something worse.
Okay, that was a lot of information. This is a quick summary of what you should do with your shipping papers. First, before you sign it, make sure everything is correct on the manifest and make any changes before it leaves your facility. It's really easy to make a mistake with all those little boxes to fill in, and this is a legal document that you are signing. Second, when you're confident that the manifest is accurate, sign it and, if necessary, scan or make copies of the top copy since it's the most legible. Keep one for yourself so you have one you can read, and email the other to NHDES within 5 days. This is one of the most common violations that NHDES sees at VSQGs. Again, ensure that you are sending a copy of your manifest within 5 days to NHDES. Lastly, make sure you get a copy from the TSDF that your waste went to, so that you have proof that your waste made it there. It's important to note that the TSDF isn't always required to provide it to you, but you are required to have it. If the TSDF that your waste is going to isn't providing a copy to you, you will need to find another way to get the documentation, either by registering for eManifest and checking to be sure your waste got there, or by using a customer service portal that your transporter may maintain with all of your shipping documents. This is your waste and your liability that you need proof that your waste made it where it was supposed to go. In Section F, Question 1, we ask if you're hanging on to these manifest copies. Check your files. You should have 2 copies of the manifest from each shipment. One from when the shipment left your business, and one from the TSDF showing that it got there. You are required to hang on to these manifests for at least 3 years, but I would always advise that you hang on to them forever. They don't take up that much space anyways, and it's fine if you have digital copies instead of paper. Just make sure that whatever way you keep them, you can retrieve them easily if you're asked to retrieve them by an inspector to show proof of shipment. As mentioned before, EPA is in the process of transitioning to an electronic eManifest system that'll switch from using paper copies to an all-digital system. This will eliminate the need for paper versions of manifests to be carried and stored, hopefully making life simpler for everyone. Therefore, you may no longer receive the manifest copy from the TSDF letting you know that your waste safely arrived to its final destination, but it is still your responsibility to ensure that it did by registering for eManifest to check it on your own. If 60 days have gone by and you have not received a copy that the waste was accepted by the TSDF, or verify that waste was received by the TSDF on e-manifest, you are required to notify NHDES that you don't know what happened to your waste. Hopefully this doesn't happen to you, but again, it is something that you need to pay attention to. Earlier I said that you should make a photocopy or scanned image of the original signed manifest for your records so you have a copy clear enough that you could read. I also said to make an extra copy for NHDES because we want to know when a hazardous waste shipment is on the road in New Hampshire. In Section F, Item 2 of the self-certification form, we ask if you're doing this. If you have not been sending your copies to NHDES, here is the email and mailing address so you know where to send them from now on. NHDES prefers that you email a scanned digital copy instead of sending in a paper photocopy, if possible. If you email us, we can confirm we received it and easily respond if there are any questions. It also reduces the amount of paper that we have to use. Okay, that takes care of page 4 on this form. You're doing great. Hopefully we've helped make these requirements a little easier to understand and even explained why we have some of them. Now, let's keep going through the rest of the form and get this thing done. We have more presentations to help you understand these and other regulations. But if you'd just like to talk to a person, we want to help. Give us a call at one of the numbers on your screen during normal working hours. Please leave a message if we don't connect and we'll return your call. If email is your preference, we've got you covered. You can reach us at vsqg@des.nh.gov.